Boker Tov, Yom Tov, Zarim Tovim, and Lila Tov. Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening. I thought I'd come on and just go live. I just recently did a premiere of a video regarding the black swallowtail butterfly and a conversation that I had with my beautiful friend Kathleen during one of our tutoring appointments. I've been really blessed to be able to help assist people privately through my tutoring sessions. And there was just something so beautiful of what Kathleen shared that I wanted to make sure that all of you saw it. So if you missed that, please go to the YouTube channel and watch the short 7-minute video because there's some really amazing stuff in there as we are all going through our purging season right now. Thank you, Pamela, for saying that. I appreciate that. We are in a season of purging, and right now many of us are dealing with quite a few things that are surfacing in our life that we need to actually not walk away from and not press down or away, but things that we really need to look at and feel through so we can transmute them. I know that I have been in that process for quite a while right now. Thanks, James. I'm glad that it did. It blessed me when Kathleen shared it with me, and of course, it brought tears. Surprise, surprise on that. But I didn't really want to talk about the black swallowtail today because that video does a good job of it. I wanted us to just have a brief conversation about the importance of working through the things that are surfacing through us, our emotions, our feelings. And it's interesting because as I've been going through the Hebrew and Aramaic languages and I've been looking at certain verses, it's amazing how many verses will begin to trigger things, but not in a way where it's provoking, where it is surfacing emotions that need to come through and need to be transmuted. It's actually having the opposite effect, and I'm seeing the beauty in it, because what I'm finding is that as I begin to look through the languages and I look through certain verses that the Spirit will say, hey, Carrie, dig, look at this verse, dig into it. It touches me at the heart level. And as soon as it touches me at the heart level and I feel this expansion on the inside, many times as I begin to ponder it throughout the day, because I do a lot of my study in the morning, so does my husband, there are things that will surface in the day that are of my shadow. And what I'm finding is that these scriptures give me the ability, because of the light that is within it and the love, because it's really like these beautiful love letters. Now, some people may not see it that way, and that's okay. But for me personally, they're like little love letters from the creator, from all the writers and all the authors that are specifically talking to me in the moment. So when I get to, I open up these little love letters and information is given to me, these revelations are then giving me the ability to take that expanded heart and go into my shadow work. And that's why the butterfly in the purging aspect of it is sometimes we scramble with that energy that's coming in, or we're scrambling because something begins to surface within us. We're either triggered, or a memory comes forward, or a feeling. I've been hearing a lot about like this impending doom things, or shame and guilt, or disconnection, or you name it. And it's a lot of these energies that are in our lower chakra systems that are beginning to surface. So these languages have given me the ability to take that heart expansion and move into the shadow so that I am equipped with an expanded heart to embrace the pain and suffering. Tomorrow I am going to be speaking with my friend Kendra, and it's on her Facebook page called Candid Chicken. We are going to be going live stream 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 11 Eastern Standard Time. We'll be discussing about transparency. And that's really kind of what I'm alluding to in this with what the sacred languages have allowed me to do, because I feel like Spirit is saying that we're entering in, or we have been in the season of transparency. And Kendra and I will be specifically speaking about that yesterday, and some of the things that we both experienced while we were away in group gatherings. And I look forward to being able to share that with all of you guys. And It'll be live on Facebook, and I will be uploading on the YouTube channel later this message and then doing it as a premiere so I can hang out in the chat room with you guys while our conversation is going on. So, the second thing that I wanted to talk about, I know Tina, it is awesome. My friend Kendra she's a hoot. We've had some amazing conversations, and so I'm really looking forward for you guys to meet her as well and give some exposure. The other thing I wanted to talk about, besides transparency and the beauty of the sacred languages, because you hear me talk about that all the time. I mean, it is my favorite subject. The second thing I wanted to talk about is that this weekend, on Saturday, I am going to be having somebody new on our channel, Daryl from Arkansas. And Daryl has shared with me quite a story of his awakening journey, but also we have a heart and a love for the Aramaic scriptures. And so we are going to be having a discussion about that. And Brandon is going to be spending time with his family, with his kids, and with Amanda. So I decided to bring Daryl on as a new face so that you can hear his heart regarding the sacred languages, especially of Aramaic. And I hope that it will really bless you. I'm really, really looking at it, that it will bless you in hearing his heart and some of his experiences. And we are going to be actually talking about the word law. Because it's always interesting when you look at the translations and you begin looking at like where these words were translated into English, and where you would assume that it's one word for law, but there's multiple words. And then actually asking, why would they choose a certain word meaning law over another word meaning law? And a lot of times it's extremely revealing when you begin seeing this. I'm going to share something that happened when I was in Crestone, because I'm sure some of you have been wondering what that group gathering was all about. And it was amazing. It was truly amazing. And I don't know, James, if you know Daryl from Arkansas or not, but you will certainly get to meet him on Saturday. He is a beautiful person, and his heart is full of love and light. And I'm very excited to have you guys meet him. But going back to what happened to me in Crestone, or what was experienced in Crestone, I kind of lost my train of thought regarding transparency. I don't know if that really matters, but there were some special things that happened when I was there. Oh, now I remember. Sorry about that. I've had so many conversations that I'm kind of like, they're all blending and like, what was I talking about? I met a beautiful man named Moshe, and he lives in Crestone, and he has a Jewish background. He is and was raised as an Orthodox Jew. And I was so, so blessed by meeting him. Some of you have known that Ken and I have come through the Hebrew Roots movement. And so we spent much time looking in the Torah and looking at the commandments. And it was beautiful for me to see the difference in the dual system between Christianity and Messianic Judaism or Orthodox Judaism, to be able to see the polarity from both sides. And the Spirit really wanted me to honor Moshe, because the healings that I received, which is what I was talking about at the very beginning, really, of studying the sacred languages and having these revelations come forward to help me through things that would surface, things that we need to purge, the goop that needs to get out of us, came through the sacred languages. And so some of my extreme healing that I needed to have, because some of you understand that I have shared with you that at some point I did have multiple personalities, and I've been able to integrate all of them. And a lot of trauma, CPTSD, and I've worked through that, and the sacred languages have helped me with that. So I was able to share with Moshe and honor him that through his culture and through his people, that they actually stewarded the language. They protected it. They guarded it. They brought it actually back to life, because Hebrew was a dead language. And when I be able to connect to him at this heart level, I began to see prophecy being fulfilled. Many of you who know some of the prophecies in the book of Ezekiel, when it says that the two sticks shall become one, and this is in reference to like Ephraim and Judah becoming one stick together, no longer divided. I was seeing this, I was seeing this in this beautiful man, Moshe, who is very dear to my heart now. And I'm alluding to something here. First of all, I love the fact that after we had that heartfelt connection and I was able to honor him and thank him, because I know different types of persecution, and really I do not care what the world thinks about the state of Israel or what they think is being done. I don't play in the system of duality anymore. I'm choosing to look and see the hearts of the people that are in front of me in the moment, in my now. I'm not judging external, and I don't want to be judging and labeling somebody because of their religious faith. I'm looking to connect at the heart level. And that's exactly what Moshe and I did. And in that moment, as tears were streaming down my face, and I was thanking him for what he has gone through in his life, in being raised as an Orthodox Jew, but the part that he's played in being part of a group that would steward the sacred language that brought healing to me. There was this conversation where we had that it was time for us to enter into unity with one another. Now, I'm not saying this through unity of what people would say through the no-hide laws and all that. I've been down all those rabbit holes. I've been down those trails, and I have seen agendas in the system of duality, in narratives that do not pertain to me anymore because of the heart connect. And so Moshe and I had this moment where we were looking at each other, and we both understood in that moment that the unity that we were talking about was from the heart level. It was from right here. Because in finding that unity within, then it allows us to see one another clearly. So I can see me. And because I can see me, that means the person that is standing opposite as the mirror, I can see them. I could see Moshe. And I can't even begin to tell you how profound that was in that moment. But what ended up happening a little later on, it was like the next day or two, Moshe blessed me by bringing some of his sacred writings with him, some of the things, his prayer book that he used when he was growing up. And he showed that to me, but then he brought out the Zohar. And I loved it because it was the Zohar in Hebrew. Now, this was an answer to prayer for me, and I'm sure I'm going to find time with Moshe so he can help me. Because I've been praying to learn how to speak the language, right? And really how to read it, which I know that some of you might laugh when you hear me say that, because you would think that I do read it and I do speak it because I do study it and I share from it. But I'm really using it as this beautiful study tool of what is there to unlock my heart, to unlock the revelation of who I am, what the writings are saying about who this vessel is, because it's not Carrie. It's not this flesh suit that I wear, and it's certainly not the avatar I play. It's the revealing of the true nature within. So anyway, I'm sitting down and Moshe showing me this book, and I just love it because it's all in Hebrew, right? And so I have a little, I would say that I was feeling a little nervous because, ego likes to creep in, and feeling a little shy, but also excited at the same time, because here I'm speaking to somebody who has this beautiful language. And I'm like a little first grader. And he sits down and he wants to help me, and he opens it up and he wants me to begin to read. And I don't know how to read it, but I see it and it speaks to me. And so we were working on one sentence, and I literally felt like I was back in first grade again, learning phonetics and these little books. But he was so patient with me, and it was such a beautiful transition that we're going from word to word. And I do have a point here, and I am going to land the plane. But what we came to, a word for heaven. And I'm really used to seeing the word shamayim for heaven. I'm not used to seeing this other word. In fact, I can't even remember what it is off the top of my head. And it doesn't really matter what it was in the moment. But Moshe helped me with that. And I said, well, what is this word? I've not seen it before. And he goes, it's a word that means heaven. And so we began to have this discussion about, well, okay, why wouldn't they put the word shamayim here? Why did we choose this? And then I was able to look at the letters themselves, just the way that I study, the way that has been presented to my husband and I through the Spirit, and take a look at the letters to see why in this phrase they would choose to use this certain word for heaven. And so I began to break it apart and show Moshe about on my end on how I take a look at the language and how it speaks to me. And there was such this beautiful moment as I'm breaking it down in the way that I do, and he can hear my heart. And after sharing, I looked at him and I said, well, this makes sense why they would use this word instead of shamayim. And he was able to see that because I used the Paleo Hebrew meanings of the letters, and I was able to use the constituent letters and their definitions that are all contained in this one Hebrew word to make sense of why that word was chosen over the next. And it if you could have seen Moshe's face, and if you could have felt the interaction we had in the moment, and I began to, getting back into ego, began apologizing that I really, I don't know a whole lot. And he began to um, build me up and saying, oh, you know much more than you think you do. And it was like, well, with the information, you've had to have watched videos, you've had to have gone through teaching. And I was like, no, the Spirit is what's taught my husband and I this. I wish that I could have captured that moment that I had with Moshe, those two beautiful moments. I'm doing my best to relate them to you through my words, but I really wish you could feel the heart connect as this beautiful man who has his history and his being raised as an Orthodox Jew, and hear me not, coming through Christianity and then dipping my toe for a decade in the Hebrew roots movement and coming together through the language. It was like in that moment, it didn't matter. It didn't matter anything about our past. It didn't matter about our religious upbringings. It didn't really matter what we knew or didn't know. What it was is that we were choosing to connect at the heart in the moment of now. And the bridge was the sacred languages, because the sacred languages aren't a religion. They are beautiful information for a heart transformation that brings healing and restoration and bringing us back together, as it speaks continually of unity, especially Aramaic scriptures. It talks about the unity and how much it is rests upon our ability to transform ourselves from the inside out at the heart level. I really wish I could have you all have been there in the moment with me, because it feels like my words are hollow and empty, like they don't really accurately share what transpired in that moment. But I knew that there was a bond that was created between Moshe and I through the sacred languages and through the heart connection in seeing each other, truly seeing each other in the moment, and not through the masks we wear, but through the heart that is within each of us and directly connecting at that place. There is much more that happened while we were at Crestone. And I'll save that for another time in a conversation, because next week I'll be discussing, Brandon will come on, and I'm sure we'll be discussing more about the things that transpired in Crestone. Because I really would like to have someone who was there be able to engage as well. And I might even see if our friend Lou Machado can be in the chat room so she can share some things too. She's not one that comes on the camera much, but I would love to have her in the conversation too. And maybe she'll listen to this and go, okay, maybe I will or not. She's a hoot. And maybe we can have Amanda on too, because I'd love to be able to share some of our experiences and really what's transpiring, because it's about all of us. It's about what's happening to us, not just on the individual level. I mean, yes, individually we are healing and we are growing, but it is something much, much bigger than the individual level. And you hear Ken and I speak many times about the micro and the macro. And so there is something big that is really happening. So anyway, I hope that blessed you with a little conversation about my interaction with Moshe, because I really can see it on the micro level being a fulfillment of that prophecy in Ezekiel, and getting to be a part of that was so special so special to me. And I am going to treasure that as that brief moment because it was so organic. It wasn't forced and it just unfolded exactly the way it needed to unfold. So on Saturday, I will be having Daryl from Arkansas on, and we're going to be chatting. And then at 1 o'clock, I'm going to start with Dr. Joe Dispenza's book. And we'll pick up where we left off because we're in some amazing information right now. The entire book is amazing. And I can see more and more how much it ties into the sacred languages. So we will be doing that. But I also wanted to let you know that on the 26th, it will be 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 Eastern Standard Time. I will be doing a live stream with Steve Conover. So if some of you know him from Facebook and know him from his YouTube page, he speaks about the Aramaic scriptures. And he had one in specifically that he did a new season or a new series where he talks about Conversations from the Wilderness. It has something to do with the wilderness. Sorry, Steve, if I'm not saying it correctly. But he did one specifically on repentance that really hit me hard. And I want to have a conversation with him and I want you to be introduced to him. So again, with bringing Daryl and bringing Steve on, these are people that men who have been really highly impacted by the Aramaic languages. And I just want you to hear from them. I have some other people that I am talking to that I want to bring on the channel as well. And I'm coordinating, but I'm not going to release who they are at this time, just for their privacy at the moment until we can nail things down. And then I will be able to share that with you and put up a invite through Restream so that you can save it and not miss a moment of those interviews, because I know that Spirit's gathering us. And it's not just my voice and it's not just Ken's voice, it's all of our voices. And many of us have things that we need to share and others need to hear so that we know that we're not in this alone, that we're not walking this out individually anymore, that we are walking this out collectively, and that we don't need to be in that place where we're alone anymore. That's huge for me. And I'm sure it is for some of you too, that have really felt that place of loneliness, that you have woke up, you're experiencing things, and yet you feel like the people that are around you in your immediate vicinity don't see you, don't understand you, don't comprehend you, and you're running around trying to wake them up when some of them are not meant to be woke up. And some of them are doing things that they need to do to create an environment and a matrix for you to have your awakening process. So those that are in that process right now, we are gathering and we are sharing things and we are connecting at the heart level at a much, much deeper level than just the surface water talk. Because that's what I think we really desire. We want to get rid of that spiritual ego. We want to diminish the ego, and we want to connect at the heart level and be able to be open and transparent with one another, to be vulnerable and have these kind of conversations. And that's what I believe Kendra and I will be doing tomorrow at 8 a.m. Again, I'll post it on YouTube so that you can watch it later. But if you want to go look at that, tomorrow 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Candid Chicken on Facebook, and Kendra and I will be having that conversation. So stay tuned for lots of more conversations. Stay tuned. Ken and I will be sharing some. I know that we were silent for 2 weeks. I've got some more videos lined up for you regarding some proofroom so we can look at some verses. I'm making them smaller videos because I know that sometimes like an hour video is very daunting, and an hour and a half or a 2-hour live stream, well, that's a whole nother story. So be patient as I'm refiguring out how to best bring this information to you in bite-sized pieces so that I don't overwhelm you. Because I know with new languages and new concepts and new ideas, we can only absorb so much at a time. I know that for me specifically, but also because I am now starting my tutoring. I get that with individuals. That's why my tutoring sessions don't really go any longer than an hour, because there's plenty that can be shared in an hour. And I just want to maximize your time in helping leave some nuggets with you that you can process without feeling like you ate the whole cow, because nobody likes indigestion. And you can spiritually have indigestion as well, and that's no fun. That's not bueno. So anyway, thank you for joining me. I know that we didn't have a lot of discussion in the chat room. It's more information, but we are back, and I look forward to connecting with you in different levels, different ways of communication, bringing different people on making those shorter versions of these videos, and just having, I really want to see this community built. And I know eventually I will be having some Zoom sessions with people that are very familiar with the language. And that's why I am so excited. Hi, Ashley. It is good to be back. It's good to see you, beautiful. That's why I'm excited to be able to have these gatherings with people, so that when we get on like Zoom meetings, that there are multiples of us that are involved in the language, and we can cultivate this atmosphere. And even if you're not interested in studying the language, there's still much that you can glean from it. For those of us who are being called into it, ways that we can help plant seeds that would begin to produce thought and change within the heart, so that we can move forward in this oneness unity and truly see each other beyond the masks, because we're willing to remove them and not have that be what you see, but have it be through the leading of our heart, through the Spirit. Because I know that's the authenticity that we're all longing for and waiting for. So it's got to start right here. So, a new dawn, a new day, a new way of presenting things, and hopefully a new atmosphere where we can create authenticity, a space for transparency, and have these conversations with one another from the heart level, and using as a great discussion tool Hebrew and Aramaic language, because that's what it's all about. It is truly about cultivating intimacy within so we can have it without. So thanks, you guys, for joining today, the 20 of you so that have been here with me for this live stream. I do love you. Shalom, shalom, and namaste.